Hey guys, happy Friday. I know this is the first video of 2018 and you are so excited, or at least I am. I think it's really important as my first video of 2018 to talk to you about how sometimes you say things and then you eat your words later. For example, I said that you should under no circumstances ever help a chick hatch. Well, about 2.5 weeks ago, I ate my own words. We had 7 eggs in the incubator, and the first one pipped on a Monday. And she started to unzip, which just means like she pipped and then started to unzip around. They go all the way around the egg, and then they start to push out. She only got about a quarter of the way pipped within 24 hours, and then she just stopped. There was no further progress. Everybody else hatched out, and she was just sitting there. Now, I knew we had to open and close the incubator a few times to get them out, so she was probably dried out. After 48 hours, I was starting to get a little concerned about her being too dried out, her being too tired, that sort of thing. So because she was already in progress, I could see she was still alive, she was still breathing, I decided I was going to see if I could help her get out the rest of the way. So I did what I said I wouldn't do. I took her into the bathroom and I helped her slowly all the way around, crack the rest of the shell. And then I gave her a few minutes to see if she would push out by herself. She didn't. And then I slowly just removed the shell. I left the membrane on as much as I could, so I didn't accidentally rip any feathers out or anything like that. I just took the shell out. Then I left her like that. I had her in a separate little box in the brooder under the light, so I knew she was warm enough. Let her kind of sit there for a few hours. She didn't make any more progress. So I did end up slowly, very slowly, taking the rest of the shell off of her. And turns out she had spraddle leg. So spraddle leg is when a chicken is born or hatched and their legs are just kind of wide apart. It's not like a normal chick where they do end up standing. They might be a little awkward, but they do stand and then they're zipping around the brooder. She couldn't get up at all. She was just on her back the whole time. So of course my husband's at work. This is my first day on vacation, but I was like, I need to get a brace on her as soon as possible because it is very critical that you get a brace on a spraddled leg chick as soon as possible. I tried doing a little rubber band hair thing by myself with a straw, but that was really tough because of course she's a silky mix, so she has 5 toes, so it's incredibly hard to get a tiny little hair tie over her feet by yourself. So what I ended up doing was taking some vet wrap, just a very skinny strip, and I ended up just threading some through a straw and then wrapping that and then securing the straw area in the middle so she could, start to develop with her legs just a little bit closer, and we could encourage her to try to stand up. I put it on her, and of course she was just pissed at the world. She's on her back, she's kicking around, she doesn't like that her legs are closer like that, but that's okay. They need to get used to that. And then after I let her chill out for a while, lay on her back, get used to having the little brace on her, I was able to turn her around and start encouraging her to stand up on her own. I knew I probably had another day where she would be okay without food and water, but I did take a little syringe and I was putting a little bit of water in her beak because I couldn't even imagine how dried out she was or how she was feeling. I didn't want to encourage food right away, but I just put a little drop on her beak and she was just drinking it right up. After 24 hours, she did kind of start stumbling around a little bit by herself. Typically, you only need to leave a spraddle leg brace on for 24 to 48 hours, but I felt like her case was pretty extreme. Especially since I did have to assist her in hatching. We left hers on for 72 hours to the point where it seemed like it was holding her back. She was zipping around, but it seemed like she was kind of holding herself back a little bit with it. We had her in with the other chicks to make sure they were all getting along and all that sort of thing. After 72 hours, we took the brace off and we decided that she would probably be fine with the others full time. And she was. Magically, the brace worked. I'm super glad that I went back on my word about not ever assisting with a hatch, because now we have this beautiful little sizzle chick. She's a silky and frizzle mix. So that's called Sizzle. And she is just adorable. And I have named her Beyonce because she's a survivor and she's gonna make it. I'm super glad I went back on my word, but I did just want to share this experience with you guys, because if you are going to do something like that, you do kind of have to be available to monitor the chick. Like that first day, I was checking on her constantly. I helped her start hatching around 7:30 in the morning, and then I was like checking on her continuously until I went to bed that night. So I think it's super important to realize if you are going to assist a hatch like that, you do kind of need to be available to keep an eye on them if you do want to keep them alive. It is a lot of work. I still don't believe that I would assist a hatch if they didn't ever pip by themselves or start unzipping, because if that's the case, they're probably just not going to be strong enough to survive in general. But because I saw that she did make some progress, I'm not sure that she ever got her head completely under her wing properly to unzip. Not really sure, but because she had started unzipping, I did a lot of Googling. There's this awesome backyard chickens forum that is always just packed full of information. So if you ever find yourself in that situation, I advise you to do a lot of Googling. Look here on YouTube, reach out to like chicken people that you know on the Instagram. Tag them in a comment or DM them. So many people of the chicken community on Instagram are super duper helpful. You can always reach out to the comment section in this video if you're in this situation, or if we're friends on Instagram or Facebook, go ahead and just send me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, because obviously I want to help you do this. I did eat my words. I wanted to admit that. I think in 2018 we should all take a little bit of responsibility for the things that we say and do, and admit when we go back on our word or we, change our opinion on something. So that's what I'm doing. First video of 2018. Yes, there are still decorations for Christmas in my house because we were slow at taking them down. So hopefully by next week when you talk to me on Friday, there will be no more Christmas decorations. And if they are, there's probably up to. So anyways, cheers to the weekend. I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and feel free to drop your comments and questions in the comment section. Just don't be a dick, remember? Bye guys!